thing that I sent you with to Michelle? Have you had time to look at that video yet? Ellen, yeah. She was a assistant head for HUD. I don't remember if she was ever the head.
There was a music video on that, that's all I saw.
No, there were two of them.
No.
The music one was Willie Nelson.
I just saw that one.
And the one right below was,
Not the important one.
the one right below was Ellen.
Ellen DeGeneres?
No,
Degenerate?
she was,
Oh, it's Ellen DeGeneres.
she's a monetary expert
Oh.
for the Reagan administration.
Oh, yeah.
A whistleblower.
Wow, you're kidding.
Oh. Pretty good. It's a pretty good clip.
Well, last time, the Attorney General was holding this investigation on Facebook. His dad was granddad, or he was governor, he's like governor of Nevada. But he was with,
Who you talking about, Blackwell?
Attorney General's son now is the Attorney General's son.
That's the grandson.
Grandma, I said, it's actually the father of grandfather.
Yeah, Blackwell was a United States senator, but he has all kinds of ties with the government, the lobbyists, and stuff, insiders. You know, so he's just like everybody else.
Well, he's good and bad, but he was right.
Good bet.
And good and bad. I got a one-track mind.
I haven't looked.
Good afternoon, Las Vegas. This is Clark coming to you live on the herd. We were heard here a little while ago. Someone heard us, I don't know what, but anyways, big blow up here at the studio. I had one of my relatives that I don't like to claim anymore. He's been disowned, what have you. He came in here yelling and screaming and going crazy. And I guess things aren't going too well for him. Someone just told me, you know, when you start, this flack starts showing up, you're over the target. Well, he seems to be losing it. Quite a display. You can see a little bit of it on YouTube till we cut it off because things are getting out of control. That guy is a maniac. I think I've known him my whole life, of course. He's my son, but I hate to admit it. But he's a greedy little bastard, and he thought that he was going to become big cheese by taking me on.
It's 1 o'clock.
And I guess other kids have tried that in their days and what have you, but
It's just 1 o'clock.
usually you got to be careful when you take on someone who's been around a little longer than you. You might be biting off more than you can chew. Well, anyways, he appears to be in that class, and he's been outdone. He thinks he's King Kong. He's finding out he's no Kong or King or anything else. He's just a loser. And he's had some legal troubles here lately, and they're pounding up on him. He's got some IRS problems. I think he's got problems at work. And he's got sexual harassment problems. And anyways, the guy's just an absolute loser. He showed me his colors when he took me on in the suits that I've been talking about here for going on a year. I have a crazy sister also, and she's worthless as they come. And she decided to do something on my mother's estate plan just shortly before she passed away. And she had suffered from Alzheimer's for 4 years. By the end of her life, she wasn't too cognizant. And my sister took advantage of that and ended up with some paperwork that gives somebody difficulties. If you ever have a family situation where you have an elderly person who's been suffering from Alzheimer's, you gotta pay close attention to them and make sure that they're not yes. I'm on the air right now, going nuts. But anyways, I'll play your music, huh? Amazing. It's amazing. You can see the kid. He came busting here going crazy. Absolutely insane. Yeah. You can go on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and go to Face of Community. You can see the last. It's 36 minutes, the whole show. And then the last 4 minutes of it is him busted in before I could cut it off. But you can see Yolanda went crazy at first with this temper. Yeah. But quite the thing, watch it on YouTube. Yeah, I'll call you back after the show. Call you back at 3. I got a phone call I had to take, so I thought I'd play you some song about America. You know where that is? America. I love that song. I love America. But boy, I'll tell you what, we better pay attention because we need help. This country needs help. And we need to elect Donald Trump, and that's the end of that. Because he's the only one that's not subject to special interests. He's the only one that's not going to kowtow to the parties. These parties that I've been talking about now for months and months are corrupt organizations, and they need to be made illegal. If we have to do it through the Supreme Court, or we do it just through a national public initiative, a ballot initiative, whatever you call it, I think the voters of this country, we the people, remember us? This country was founded for us. We need to make the parties, these political parties, illegal organizations because they're corrupt. And they take people that we legally elect to office to represent us, and they steal them. They get them, let's say in Washington, they take them out to lunch their first day there. They give them an envelope stuffed full of cash, and they buy them. And then these people now kowtow to the parties, and they do what the parties want, or they end up like a Joe Lieberman. Remember him? He was a longtime Democrat, one of the chosen few, if you will, kind of powerful in the Democratic Party. Well, in his older days, he started becoming a little more conservative, if you will, and started tuning some policies that were not the entrenched society of the Democrats. So he got in disfavor. And then there was even talk about him splitting a ticket on the Republican Party as a vice presidential candidate to split the ticket with a Republican for president. That was the end of it. Boy, the Democrats couldn't stand this anymore. So the next election, when Senator Lieberman was running for re-election, the Democrat Party funded in opposition to him in a primary process. And with all the money thrown after this guy on the Democrat side, the Democrat primary went to this new guy, and Lieberman lost. So what did Lieberman do? He just said, okay, so he went and registered as an independent for the office of senator, and damned if he didn't get elected. So there you go, Democrats, that's what happens. You don't always get to do what you think you can do. And the Republicans are about to learn a big-ass lesson the same way. If they take on Donald Trump, they're taking off more than most people can chew. And good luck to you. I can't wait to see it, because it's going to be devastation. Trump is going to destroy you. And Reince Priebus and the Republican establishment better wake up, because they're going to lose everything that they think they have. They're going to lose it all. And it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of people. They need to go, and they need to go soon. And it may be July when we see flames coming out of Cleveland as they go down in flames. They better wake up, and if they have any chance of going on for a few more years, they better get in shape, because I would just as soon see Donald Trump take them on, destroy them. Let's get rid of the Republicans. The Democrats have destroyed themselves with the two candidates they just recently put up. Hillary Clinton, who is the worst candidate for president this country has ever had. I think there have been dictators that have run and got elected in other countries that are more qualified than her. She is pathetic. She's a shyster lawyer operative from the original Rose Law Firm in Arkansas. She was a crook then. She's a crook now. She's been this way her entire life. If you've ever watched the series House of Cards on Netflix, it's about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Those two characters in that show are them. And you have the portrayal of Bill Clinton, played by Spacey something or other, whatever his name is, Kevin Spacey, throws a reporter in front of a train, kills her, And, you know, I mean, look at the bodies that has followed the Clintons in their little escapades from Arkansas all the way to Washington, D.C., culminating in Vince Foster's demise, where he committed suicide in a park with, I guess, 2 bullets to the head. I don't know many people that pull that off, shooting themselves twice in the head. But the real issue is there's no bullets anywhere around there. So where the hell did the bullets go? Apparently he wasn't shot in the park. Interesting, but that's what you get when you got people like the House of Card characters actually running the government. This is what you can expect. And what we can expect with a Hillary Clinton is God only knows, and I pray to God we don't find out, because it's not going to be any good for this country, especially where we're coming off 7.5 years now with just devastation coming from the Obama administration, which until Jimmy Carter had the title of being the worst president, he got thrown off that throne by Obama, because there's never been an administration like this one either. Every single thing Obama's proposed has been 180 degrees in the wrong direction, and this is what's happened. He's absolutely, look at what he does in Cuba. What was the necessity to go down to Cuba and do anything? What do we need from Cuba? Can you tell me? Are we having a cigar shortage around here that can't be made in Honduras or someplace else? What's the problem? Why did we have to go to Cuba? What can they possibly offer to us when most of the residents down there make a whopping $20 a month as their income? About $250 a year. What can these people do? They can't travel. They can't even pay for an airline ticket to fly the 90 miles to Miami. So they're not going to be any thing from the United States to be involved with. And then Obama, what does he want to do? He wants to give away Gitmo back to the Cubans. Well, here we have an island 90 miles off our shore with a strategical air base there that is a security position for the United States to have. We have it, we built it, we own it, and why in the world would this retard Obama ever consider giving it away? I think the other liberal president, Jimmy Carter, if I'm not mistaken, gave away the Panama Canal. These people are morons. You've heard Donald Trump running for president. He calls the leaders that we've had in this country morons. And he couldn't be more accurate. That's one of the attractivenesses of Donald Trump. He says it like it is. And he's not politically correct. He could give a damn if somebody likes the words coming out of his mouth or not. He's going to say what he feels. He's going to say what his instincts tell him is the truth in the real situation. And the devil may care. It doesn't matter. He's going to say it. And this is the type of president we need. And all the leaders around the world are scared to death that Trump's going to get in there, because they're not going to know how to handle him. They like this Obama guy showing up in their country, bowing to them. Well, that's not going to happen with a Trump. He's going to show up with a negotiating hat on, and he's going to do some trade negotiations, and he's going to start straightening out several of the things that we have stupidly done for years with the morons running this country, like foreign aid. Why are we giving billions and billions of dollars away of taxpayer money to foreign governments who are really our enemies in a lot of respects? And they take this money and they don't appreciate it. They don't bow down to us. Matter of fact, they hold us up for more money. And we need to take it away, take all foreign aid away, wipe it all out. Let's start the slate clean. If somebody needs money because of whatever they want to present their case to whoever makes those decisions on it, to the president, let them make their case to Donald Trump. See what he says about it. And if there's any reason to give taxpayer money away in this country to foreign soil, I'd like to know what it is, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Not in this day and age, when you have, maybe years and years and years ago, when you had to have some sort of a world presence here and there just to make sure that you can keep tabs on what's going on in the world. But now with satellites and our reconnaissance capabilities, we pretty much know what's going on. And we can be on top of things pretty damn quick. And we need to stop giving away this gravy train. We need respect. That's what we need back. We need respect. If we're gonna give any money away to foreign countries, one thing that we're gonna have, and sorry about that, but we're gonna have to have respect. Or you can go pound sand. We're not giving you dick unless you respect us. And you do what we say. We're giving you money, we're buying you. Like Donald Trump used to buy Hillary Clinton and all the other Democratic operatives. He bought them. And he tells Hillary Clinton how high to jump, and she jumps. That's what these politicians do. Well, it'll be refreshing to have an old-time buyer of politicians in office that's not buying people anymore. He's running the show, and nobody can buy him. They can go pound sand. He's given away the opportunity to get millions and millions and millions of dollars from people that have been trying to give him money for his presidential campaign. And he just turns it down because he tells them, I don't want to have to turn you down in the future when you come to me thinking that you bought me. I got news for you. I'm not even taking your money. And there you go. So that's it. And I like that. I love that. That's refreshing. That's what this country needs, is a leader like that. And somebody that knows he knows China. He has the biggest bank in the world in one of his buildings in New York. He knows these people. Trump is truly a man of the world. He has operations all over the world. He has connections with every country, I think. Everybody certainly knows him. And this is the type of leader we need, not some dog catcher from Chicago, the highest position he held prior to becoming some sort of a senatorial electorate in a liberal mecca of the world who would elect anybody, I guess. He was a rebel rouser, and that's the way he operates his administration. He stirs up the mess, stirs up the pot, makes a problem, and then he says he's the one that can straighten it out. Well, you're the idiot that made the problem. We need to get you out, and then we won't have any more problems. And that's what we need to do with this country right now. We need to get these people out. And we need to never, really, to tell you the truth, have another liberal, progressive type ideology running this country. You get people like a Nancy Pelosi. We have to pass the bill to see what's in it. I mean, what kind of mentality is this? Unemployment's great. For every dollar we spend, we get $1.79 back. What school of economics did she ever go to? She is a moron. And we have to eliminate these people from any position of power. And part of that, going back to my original, one of my solutions, number one solution is really, and more people are talking about it all the time, is we have to get rid of these political parties. They're divisive. Their operation is to divide the country. The issues, we're against women, we're against this, we're against that. No, we're not. It's just them talking through their lips, making lies that have campaign issues that divide the country. How about if we do away with the parties and now there's nothing to divide us over? You have Jones and Smith running for office. May the best man win. If he doesn't have $1 billion behind him, well, neither does Jones. So it's a fair fight. Let them win, being what they are, who they are. Let them win on a local level. Let them go on up the ladder as they become better known. But let them work only for the people that are electing them to office, not these special interest groups that come visit them once they're elected with an envelope and buy their loyalty. Their loyalty should only belong to the people that elect them. And the way to get reelected under this new mantra is that you do a good job for the people that originally elected you, and maybe they'll elect you again until you're termed out. Because one of the other things we need to do, we gotta stop these career politicians, and we need to term them out. A couple terms and that's it. You can't run anymore because you had your time, and there's no more time for you. We need some fresh faces. And it's like all this mantra about shutting down the government. Oh, you can't shut down the government. Why not? The last time we had to go around when we shut down the government what did they show that shut down? They shut down the Veterans Park. They put a yellow tape around the Veterans Park, so nobody could go there. What the hell does that do? I mean, what? There's nobody there to begin with. I mean, what a joke. This country has turned into a bunch of inebriates that run the damn country that are nothing but big jokes. And they need to go away for a while and forever. We have to get a policy. We have to get people with common sense. The electorate has to become common sense, and they have to realize that the liberals and the progressives are poison. Everything they touch is a poison to a society. They ruin everything. Look at Detroit. Look at Baltimore. Look at California. You can't have a barbecue in your backyard. What is this country? Because of global warming? What are we here for? Why don't we just kill all the people and go back to where we have a few fish and a few turtles in the country? What do we need these humans for, these pesky humans, you know? Let's get rid of them all so that we save the planet. Save the planet for who? How about for the people that are here? How about our rights? How about if I want to barbecue in my backyard, I don't have some bureaucrat telling me I can't do that. You can go to hell, Mr. Bureaucrat, and you can get your ass out of office, and your key don't work anymore. We have to straighten this country out. We have to go back to basics. We have to go back to common sense. If something doesn't make sense, we're not listening to it. But anyway, that's the way the world needs to be, and I'm gonna do whatever little bit I can do to get the word out there. And hopefully, there's people that will listen to me and maybe talk to their neighbors and see if we can't get some discussions going. Maybe we can have some town halls or some get-togethers in the park and see if we can get some solutions out there. Maybe we can attract things like the Tea Party did there for a while. I would never call any of my organization I would be involved with that party. That I think was a problem with the Tea Party. That gave a threat to the existing parties. Well, for God's sakes, let's not call ourselves a party. We don't want anything to do with the parties. We want to make them illegal. So let's call it the herd. We are the people of this country. We the people. Remember us pesky little people? Well, we want to be heard. And our language, our voice will be heard. So let's be the herd. Why don't you call in 702-493-522. Let us know what you think. And maybe you can sign up to be part of the herd. It costs a whole dollar. I put those dollars in the bank under the herd, and anybody can call my banker anytime they want and find out how many dollars are in the bank account. And each dollar represents a person that's taken the trouble to send in a dollar and sign up for the herd. So that when we start to get more and more dollars, that means what? And more people are listening to the herd, more and more people want to be heard. And we're going to become something through our voice, because politicians are going to have to listen to us, or they're not going to be voted into office. And if they don't listen to us, they're going to be voted out of office. And this is what we need to do. We need to get this country back to what it was founded on. And that's the principle of we the people. And that's what makes this country worth being in. When they tell you can't have a barbecue in your backyard, tell them to go to hell. They've done usurp their power. They're abusing their power to tell them, a person, a citizen of this country, you can't have a barbecue because you're gonna hurt some desert turtle someplace. You know, go to hell. We're gonna get this country back on its rightful footing, where things make sense again. These smelts, or whatever they are over in California, is causing all the problems with the farmers trying to raise their crops and feed the people. You know, we gotta care about something smelt. It's this little tiny friggin' fish. And you know, these goody two shoes caring about these things. Who the hell, what does a smelt do for us? What have they ever invented that's been productive for this world? Let's get rid of everything that's not productive. I mean, we don't have to go out and kill all these smells. We just let them go the natural way. If they all die out, they all die out. Who the hell cares? Are we gonna wake up a different country, a different world, because we don't have these smells sometime? If the natural selection of the world
can survive. I think it survived some very big things in the past, volcanoes and disasters and whatnot. It can survive the demise of the snow. So in the meantime, let's not increase the price of food. Let's not do this transfer of wealth, which is what everything's all about. That's what the global warming's all about. Al Gore, transfer wealth. Transfer wealth from the dummies that have to pay more for every single thing they buy. So Al Gore can, pay his light bill over there in Santa Barbara, wherever he lives. They're all hypocrites. They're all despisable people. They're just, they make me sick. And Hillary Clinton is a chief sick one. How this lady could ever run for president, it just blows my mind. I don't know how Obama ever got elected president. That was the first mind blower for me. I can see that this country had a lot of problems. And when he got elected, boy, and then when he got reelected, I tell you what, I closed up my companies. I said, that's it, I'm done. I'm not gonna bust my balls anymore and try to make something worthwhile for anybody, because it just doesn't work anymore. You get regulated out of business, it costs you more and more and more just to keep your head above the paperwork that you have to do. Not make sales, not do something productive, not create something, not fulfill a service. No, you're busy doing paperwork, or you're busy collecting taxes to turn around and give to the government. It gives you 1.000% back for your inconvenience of have to be a tax collector. I mean, it's just, this country has a lot of soul searching to do. What kind of a country do we want to be? We, in my opinion, we want to be a country that has intelligent leaders that are elected by the people. And they don't need to be rock stars, they don't need to be geniuses, they just need to be honest. And they need to be aware of what their position is. And they can't let their position go to their head to a point where they abuse their power. They can't do that. They work for the people, we the people. And the minute you start thinking you're some sort of an elite because you got elected to an office, that's when it's time for you to go. And why not? Look at Nancy Pelosi, my prime example. If she wasn't there tomorrow, we would be better off. What does this lady do? She just takes up space. She takes air. I mean, what in the world do we need someone like that in a powerful position? We don't need her. We might as well send someone new in there tomorrow. We could send a high school student in there would do a better job than her. Anybody can do the job, because what really needs to be done? Nothing. It's a joke. These people don't know how to run their own lives, don't know how to create anything, don't know how to be productive. So why do we listen to these people? It's like, you go to school to learn something, college or whatever. Let's say you're in a business course and you need to learn business, and your teacher that's there has never made it in business. That's why he's there at the college getting a salary, teaching you how to be a businessman. But this guy, in all likelihood, is a failure. He wants to be in business, but he could never make it in business. That's why he's working for his salary. And this is the type of people that we hire at colleges and so forth to teach our students how to run a business. And they don't know how to run a business. Isn't there something wrong there? When I was in college, one of the best teachers I ever had, I took hotel restaurant management. And one of the courses, the teacher was teaching us restaurant management. And this guy he wasn't old, he was in his late 40s maybe, early 50s, but he had been a very successful restaurateur. He owned a chain of very high-class restaurants. And he was a success, he was a phenomenal success. And his doctor, he got a health issue, where maybe his heart was bad, I think it was, And his doctor said, look, you gotta give up this lifestyle that you're leading with all this business that you have going, or you're not gonna be around here much longer. So he sold all his businesses, made millions and millions of dollars, bought a big beautiful house on the ocean. And because he was a little bit spoiled, he didn't want to go to this classrooms and teach these things, but he became a teacher, so he has something to do. And he was teaching us restaurant management. And that's the best teacher I ever had in my whole life as a student. I mean, what a guy to listen to. This guy had made it in life. And what a rarity that is to be able to have a teacher like that. Well, what he'd do is he'd have classes, and he'd have classes at his house. So we'd go trotting off to his house on the ocean, and beautiful, beautiful house. So he had set up to where he could have a class there on the ocean. And man, what a class act, I'll tell you. I never learned so much in my life. And these are the types of people we need to attract to be our teachers. And that's hard to do. Now, what do we need to attract to being president of this country? We need to attract somebody like a Donald Trump, somebody that's actually made it and knows the way the world's run, knows the economy, knows how to do trade, knows how to make something, knows how to produce something, knows how to build something. And this is what we need. We don't need a community organizer from Chicago who's nothing more than a rebel rouser. And we don't need a Hillary Clinton who's nothing more than an old shyster lawyer who hooked up with the governor of Arkansas and became part of the House of Cards, if you will, and politically rose up the ladder to be at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the highest position in the land. And then what did they do while there? They sold the Lincoln bedroom, they sold seats on planes that were flying on trade deals to China and here and there, and Brown, who I think was the Secretary of Commerce. They were selling seats to donors on his plane, and this is the way the Clintons operate. Their hand is always out. Give me money and you'll get what you want. Buy me and you'll get what you want. When she was Secretary of State, she was selling her position to the highest bidder. She is a despicable, self-interested person only for what she can get for herself. Look at the facts as we know. When they got out of the White House, they had legal problems. They had legal bills up the yang because of Clinton's despicability. They faced a lot of problems. Bill Clinton was disbarred while he was president of the United States, for God's sakes. I mean, the only reason he didn't end up getting convicted and thrown out of the White House was because the Senate was controlled by the liberals. And of course, our political process, you're never going to impeach a president if one party is controlled by the other party. Not going to happen. And that's too bad, because every now and then a president does something that he should be impeached for. And Clinton getting BJs in the Oval Office while he's talking to congressmen on the phone, and then lying about it, that's a reason to be impeached, because we can't have the highest law enforcement officer of the land lying to the people of this country. Obama has done it over and over and over and over again, and she should be impeached. Right now, we have both houses, the Senate and the Congress. If we didn't have spineless crap in there like Mitch McConnell, whatever his name is, and we got rid of Boehner, now we got a Paul Ryan, I'm not too sure about him, but we got weak fish in there, and they won't stand up. They don't have any balls to do the right thing for the American people. That's why the American people are so bad. They're fed up with this crap. And this time, this election cycle, we're gonna get what we need to get in the White House to start with, and then that's gonna filter down and go from there. And we're gonna end up with good representation, straight representation, where we get things done for the American people. And we stop with all this crap about giving away all our money to foreign governments that don't appreciate us, and doing foreign trade deals that are a joke. Why would we ever have a $58 billion deficit with Mexico? I mean, what is this? We need to get our trade back on the right footing to where we do equal trade. I believe in trade, I think it's a good thing, but it has to be equal, it has to be smart trade. Giving China $580 billion a year to them is unequal, it's not fair. And our morons in power like Obama and everybody else that he's appointed, all these czars, whatever they are total incompetence. He had a czar there named Van Jones. Van Jones is no better than a Bernie Sanders or somebody. He's a communist. And these are the types of people that Obama, being one of the worst presidents we've ever had in the history of the United States, appoints losers. When you have a loser, that's what you get. He appoints losers. You can't appoint a winner because you'd outshine him in no time. So we need a leader at the top that can delegate, that can get good people around them, that have been successes in their life. Donald Trump can attract them and appoint good qualified people to the positions, to his cabinet to start with. I don't think Donald Trump's gonna have any czars, I would hope not. And what a word to call your appointees czars, you know? Hello, does communism mean anything to you, the Soviet Union? Where do czars come from? It comes from there. So we need to wake up, people. And all this talk, when you have a candidate running for president, the leader, by the way, the front runner on the Republican side, everybody in the country is against this guy, but he's leading in all the polls. Why? Why? Because he's leading with the voters, the people that really count. All the people making noise and making stories and making up lies about him, they're not the people. They're the people that have power right now. And they're scared to death that they're gonna lose their power when a Donald Trump comes along elected by the people. They're done. And they need to be done. And this is what we need to bring home to these cats. We need to get this done, wrapped up, and get this country back on an equal footing and go from there. And I hope you agree. Give us a call at 702-493-5222. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your solutions are. I put out some of mine. Want us to get rid of the political parties, however we do it. We need to concentrate on how we accomplish that. I think by getting Donald Trump in the top position, that'll help because he's not a big party supporter. I don't think he's running as a Republican because he has to run one or the other to get elected. So we need to, we can start with Donald Trump. That's the sign that I'm looking for, that we have a chance of getting this country back on a straight and narrow to success again. We used to be the greatest country in the world. I don't think we are anymore, but we need to get it back. And we're not that far down that we can't come back. We have natural resources that a lot of countries, most all countries don't have available what we have here in the United States. So we're in a great, great position. And all we do is need some good leadership, some smart leadership that knows the basics of this country, knows the Constitution, and will abide by it. We have to have a plan. We have to have, when you build a building, you go by a plan. Because that's the only way to really build a building, is you design it out, make sure it makes sense on paper, and then you build it. We have to have a plan in the Constitution. That's why it was founded, was to have a Bible, if you will, how we run the country. We have the checks and balances between the three branches of government, and this is what we do, and this is the thing that made sense to our founders. And I think it would still be great today and working just fine if you didn't have to rely upon people to impose the Constitution. What happens is the Constitution limits power. Well, when you get someone in charge, they don't want their power limited. They want absolute power, absolutely. And they start to chew away at the Constitution to get themselves more power. Well, that's the thing. I don't think there was an answer for it with our founding fathers, but they warned us about this happening, and lo and behold, it's happening. And they warned us about political parties, how destructive they were, and lo and behold, it's happening. So we need to listen to them. They founded this country because they fled tyranny. And now here we are in the United States facing tyranny. And we need to get it eliminated, and we need to get this country back on solid footing so that we can be successful again and we can stay successful. And we need to stop dividing this country. And what divides us is the parties. They are divisive. Conquer, divide and conquer. And there's nothing going on here that's weird, it's all natural, if you will. But we have to know the naturalness of the way things progress, and we need to make sure that they don't go that way. That we have a check and balance, that we make things stay in check, and then we can be successful again, and we can get this country on the right track. So I look forward to that. I look forward to getting this country back and being successful again. Then maybe I can get off my ass and do something that could be productive. I used to do very well. I used to like the companies that I developed. I was very successful and I had a good time doing it. I like going to work every day. So I need to get back to doing some of that stuff. I've been tied up, as you may know, on a legal thing that was despicable. It never should have happened. But when you're dealing with dumb people, sometimes you get involved in dumb things. And the system itself, our legal system, is extremely broken, if you will. For example, here in Nevada, the judiciary rates an F with a company out of Washington, D.C. that rates the judiciaries of all the states. And last year's ratings had Nevada with a big fat F. And not so special, 46 of the other 50 states all had an F too. So we have a problem in this country. The judicial systems don't have any integrity left because, like the country here, they've been hijacked. They've been hijacked by the system itself and the people that work within the system. There's judges and there's lawyers. Most of the judges are ex-lawyers. So what you've developed here is a system that's all controlled by basically the same group of people. And lawyers are a breed all on themselves because they are trained to take one side of an argument and argue it to the hilt, whether they're right or wrong. It doesn't matter, but their background is that they have to argue their client's interest. Well, that, to me, you end up losing your common sense at some point because if that's what you do day in and day out, how long will it take you to lose your common sense? It doesn't take that long. And I have not talked to many lawyers in the past several years where any of them had common sense. As a matter of fact, a lot of the people I'm running contact with are absolute criminals. And they just use their position, their license to steal, if you will, to take advantage of the system with the judges and so forth. In Nevada, we have a judiciary whereby our judges are elected, and that means they have to run for office. They have to, every 4 years, I think, or whatever it is, they have to be reelected or elected, and they have to campaign. So that means they have to raise money. Now, where do most judges raise their money? Well, how about for the easiest marks, if you will, the people that are operating in their courtrooms who need favorable opinions from these judges so that they can get good rulings for their clients and therefore be able to charge their clients a lot of money because you carry favor with the judge because you give the judge a nice campaign contribution when he's running for office. So that's the way the system's distorted. Now, if you want to bypass your lawyer and just give the judge a direct campaign contribution, well, that's bribing the judge, so you go to jail. No, it has to go through the lawyer. So this is the way they create this system, which is just corruption, and you end up with a judiciary that's totally corrupt. And that's what we have in the state of Nevada. And that's what 46 other states have. And the other 4 states that didn't get an F, 2 of them got a D minus, and the other 2 got C minuses. So they're not that far away from an F, and they're going in that direction. Several of them, 5, 10 years ago, had Bs. And now some of them are Ds. So it's gone south. It's gone south. Other states, I think Oregon's one, has gone to an appointed type process for their judges, where you have a select committee that looks at your background, your history, your record, and you get elected somewhat on merits to where your record goes before a committee. They analyze your qualifications and they recommend you for the position. And there may be 2 or 3 that pass the muster, and then they select one through this committee. Rather than put it to a vote of the people, that makes more sense to me. Because quite honestly, the people don't know what the hell they're doing, and the judge that has the most money is the one that gets elected for the most part, because he has more ads, he has more signs in people's yards. So that's the name that the people know when they go to pull the lever for somebody. Oh, I've seen that name. Well, they don't know anything about the person. But it doesn't matter. The whole system's broken. So if we're ever gonna have a country, we need to start. And we need to start by going back to the Constitution. We need to make sure that our courts follow the law, our judges follow the law and the statutes that have been enacted by the legislators who were elected by the people. And these legislators have the power to pass laws that become statutes, and they rule the state. It becomes state law once it's a statute. And judges are supposed to follow statutes. I say supposed to, because in a corrupt system, a lot of judges don't follow the law. Very simple. In my particular case, I had a New Hampshire Supreme Court, now the highest court in the state of New Hampshire, in a very simple issue that I brought before them, is a matter of a trusteeship of a trust. If you're named in a document as a trustee, that takes precedent over anybody else to be appointed to as a trustee first. If you're named in the document, you should be appointed first. And not should, I'm sorry, you must be appointed first. So the legislature in New Hampshire passed a statute saying that what I just said, in a trust situation, where you create a trust, you appoint a trustee, you name a person to be the trustee in the document, that party must be made trustee before anyone else. Well, my issue with the state of New Hampshire was, I'm named in the document. And in my particular case, I had an out-of-state judge that had no jurisdiction remove me as trustee for no cause. Well, the cause was that I wouldn't give the judge money that I obtained by selling a home that was in New Hampshire. Why would I give it to an out-of-state judge that had no jurisdiction over New Hampshire trust, and whose contemplated plan was to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to corrupt lawyers? Why the hell would I ever do that? Makes no sense. And by law, I don't have to do that, because the orders that this judge was making were void. So I ignored them, as are my rights to do. My constitutional right is that if a judge makes an order that's void, you don't have to follow it. It's like it never happened. And if you read any laws, or you read paragraphs or this sentence or that sentence, there always seems to be a word before court order, and that is valid court order. Anytime you read something about the effect of a court order, it always says valid court order. Because if an order is not valid, it has no force. So it does like it never existed. And we had this judge here in Nevada, Judge Alan Earl, who made orders that had no basis in validity because they were totally unconstitutional. So I had no obligation to follow them. Matter of fact, I had an obligation to not follow them. And that was by laws passed, not only in Nevada, but in New Hampshire, that any trustee of a trust has an obligation to protect the trust from all inalienable attacks from anybody at all, whoever, including courts. A court has no basis of any jurisdiction over a trust. A trust is the settler's last wishes. The person that made the money, that had possession of it, that wanted to secure it for the rights of the beneficiaries, whoever they dictated to be their heirs, and that was their last wishes prior to passing. And judges or anybody else in this country doesn't have any power or authority, nor should they, to intercede in the settler's last wishes. It's their money. If they want to give it away to a cat or bury it in a Ferrari with themselves when they die, that's up to them. It's their money, it's their assets. They can do whatever the hell they want to do with it. And no judge can interfere with that. Are you kidding me? Who do these judges think they are? And in my particular case, who the judges thought they were people that run for office and have to raise campaign contributions. So they have to take care of their lawyers running around in their courtrooms because that's their base for where they get their money for their campaigns. So it's all about the money. You always just follow the money and there you go. Well, it's not hard when you use common sense and you know what's going on. You just follow the money. Now, I've had a 7-year-long ordeal here that was caused by a sister that was stealing money from me, who took advantage of my mother, who was sick and dying the last few months of her life. She got some paperwork that she claims was signed by my mother, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But at any rate, she had paperwork. And let me tell you something, folks, if you got a trust out there, you better make goddamn sure your paperwork is legit. You better make damn sure if you have an elderly person who's getting near the time to go on, that you get as much documentation from them as to what their last wishes are. And you better make sure it's for real. You might want to film their last will and testament or their trust documents, them saying that those were their wishes on film. You better get all the evidence you can because you get these judges involved and they are despicable, incompetent people for the most part, who don't give a damn what the truth is. They could care less because their motive is to reward their lawyers that are practicing in their courts, and that's all they're concerned about. I had a judge here, William Gephardt, tell me July 21st in court of last year. He gave me a lecture that I have to understand something. He told me that all lawyers need to be paid. Are you kidding me? And this is a judge in district court in Nevada. I know Nevada's corrupt. I know they get an F on their report card. But how can a judge sit there, on the record, by the way, I have it in the transcript, where the judge told me that I have to understand that all lawyers need to be paid. Well, in this particular case, there was a lawyer in court that had no standing to be there because he wasn't a lawyer that was in the case. He's a lawyer that was representing a dead lawyer. My sister's lawyer died, and this was the estate attorney of the lawyer that died. What the hell is he doing in court about a case that I have under appeal that he had nothing to do with? And I have it under appeal to the Supreme Court. So what the hell are you even doing objecting to anything in court? The court would not have jurisdiction in that particular case because this lawyer doesn't have any standing. But no, the goal of that judge was to pay those lawyers. It didn't matter if they had standing, if they who they were, what they would do. It didn't matter. All lawyers need to be paid. Now, when you hear things like this, what the hell do you do about it? You know, I mean, it's like you're between a rock and a hard place because these people have the title. So they're the judge. Oh, you have to respect them. Well, let me tell you something. I don't respect anybody that's that far out of the bounds of reality. I'm sorry. If you want to be respected, you have to earn your respect, in my opinion. Just because you have a title judge doesn't mean dick to me, okay? I'll respect you as long as you're respectable. But you start coming out with illegal, phony, bullshit orders, I'm sorry. You lose me, buddy. And I don't care whatever your title is, doesn't matter. Okay, you're an elected official, and you need to remember that. I'm a United States citizen, and I have rights, and I have 14th Amendment rights. You start taking away my property, you're gonna have to answer to it. I don't give a crap what your title is. You understand me? I'm a citizen of this country. I was born here. I am natural born. and you start taking me on, you got problems, and I don't care what your title is. So anyways, we'll see what happens. We're getting down to the final hurrah in this particular case, as evidenced today by what happened on an earlier show. I had my youngest son come bombing into the studio here, yelling and screaming, going crazy, and insane, because we had published an article months ago with his picture in the newspaper, showing everybody and telling what a creep he was. And he comes in here with threats and this and that, and yelling and screaming. But I know why he did that, is because he's running out of time. He's about to go down in flames. We have a hearing this coming Tuesday, and he's not gonna do too well at that hearing because we've got down to the basic tactics now. But what's gonna count in this particular case is the law. Believe it or not, the law is finally going to have to be addressed. And that's not gonna be good for the guy that came busting in this office today. So we'll find out on Tuesday, if we find out on Tuesday, because maybe it'll go on longer, who knows? But the point is, nobody in this case, any lawyer in this case is through getting money. Their days are over. And what money they've gotten is gonna have to be given back because they've broken the law. So, at any rate, that's gonna be the bottom line, that's what's gonna happen. It's taken me 7 years to get to this point, but I've never given up and I never will give up. And that's the way it's gonna come down. So, my youngest son is not too happy about it, and he's gone insane. Well, he's a greedy little bastard, he can live the rest of his days insane as far as I'm concerned, I couldn't care less.